No matter how good you are, no matter how much preparation, planning, and attention to detail you do, there are three things that are the bane of model railroads everywhere. My name is Jimmy, I'm drinking some French roast coffee, and today we're going to be talking about combating the three enemies of model railroads on Coffee and Trains. By the way, this video is sponsored by Model Railroad Academy. I'll talk about them in a little bit. But if you want to tell me what kind of coffee you are drinking and have it featured just like these guys right here, you can do that in the comments below. And who knows, you might see your name pop up on an episode of Coffee and Trains. Okay, let's jump right into this. The first enemy of model railroading is dust. Dust isn't just an annoyance, it's a fact of life. As a matter of fact, most dust is simply your old skin cells floating around, so you're kind of doing this to yourself. But dust leads to two main issues in my experience, and that's just like dirty scenery and electrical issues. So the first one, scenery, it's a pain to clean because it literally gets everywhere, and I have seen all sorts of solutions for this. The most complex I've seen is a positive air pressure setup. So basically, yes, a CPAP for your model railroad. The most common solutions I've seen are covers like an ultra lightweight drop cloth, like those super thin plastic ones. That's probably actually what I'm going to end up doing here. The other one is just simply using a brush and a low powered vacuum to clean it up. Just make sure your scenery is secure so you don't lose any of it. A small vacuum like a dust buster will probably do best. A shop vac is probably going to have too much power. Now these solutions work great for getting dust off, but they can also be very involved processes. And they're going to solve the electrical issue that dust can cause, but what if you just want to do a quick runaround and you want to just like knock it out? You don't have to do a whole big clean. So, well, what I do when I need to this is I just run trains, but I don't just run any trains. I grab my Kato big boy and I put it on the track, and I add 4 to 5 cars in front of it, and I make sure that they have plastic wheels. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to have the big boy push these cars around the layout. And the cars do a great job, the plastic wheels do a great job of knocking all of the dust off. And the reason that I use the big boy versus something smaller is that it has a long area that it's going to have electrical pickup. So it's going to have less of a chance of doing any stuttering or stopping while it's doing that cleaning process of just knocking off the dust. And you don't have to use a big boy. You just need probably just a larger engine that has a longer space. So basically just use your longest engine body. It can be a 6-axle diesel. It can be anything like that. But pushing those cars with plastic wheels around definitely helps. Metal wheels do work. I know you HO scalers, you're more likely to have metal wheels than plastic wheels. Us N scalers, we can have kind of a mix. I did find that plastic wheels work a little bit better, but metal wheels will work fine as well. You're just knocking the dust off here. Now, this video is already getting you obsessed with cleaning. Model Railroad Academy has many articles and videos on cleaning your model railroad. These tips are from some of the model railroad greats and are tried and true to get your model railroad running great. Right now, you can sign up at the link in the description and get your first full year of Model Railroad Academy for just $1.49. That's for new members only, and you can check that out at the link in the description. Okay, the next big enemy of model railroads is weather. Now, you may be saying, Jimmy, my layout's inside. The weather isn't a factor. Well, I'm here to tell you that it is. And I'm not just talking to the viewer who sent me pics from their layout after a tornado sideswiped their house. Yeah, those are crazy. When we're talking about weather and model railroads, we're talking about temperature and humidity changes. If you've had a little gremlin that seems to show up on your railroad when the seasons change, chances are it was a temperature change. Even though our layouts appear static, they do expand and contract a tiny bit with temperature and humidity changes. This can happen even in well-insulated homes. If you're a garage layout owner like me, then it can really wreak havoc. Imagine this, you've done a fantastic job with your track work. It's wired and soldered and locked in place. Then in the fall or the spring, all of a sudden it starts to act up and have issues that it didn't have before. This can mean your layout is literally changing shape, just a tiny, tiny bit, but it's doing that. And your soldered joints can't adapt. This is why you need to leave expansion and contraction gaps. The easiest way to do this is to not solder together certain joiners and just let the rail joiner do the job. This lets them flex back and forth. There is some debate, but leaving about 1/100th of an inch every 3 feet of track seems to be a general consensus. For the record, this is about the thickness of a business card, so we're not talking about huge distances, like your layout's not going wow, wow. Also, straight sections are going to be better than curves for this as well. Now, I kind of cheat with my layout because it's modular. I don't have to factor in gap. I don't actually have to put in gaps. Each module gap is basically that. And this was not done by accident. This is the way I planned my layout and why I did it this way in the garage that I'm in. Okay, the last and maybe the biggest enemy of a model railroad is oxidation. When a train makes an electrical connection to the track and it's rolling down the tracks, micro-arcing occurs. This is a process that leads to that black gunk that gets on your track that seemingly comes out of nowhere. That's oxidation. Your engines cause it and your rolling stock carries the gunk around. Seriously, watch this. Track looks clean, but look, got the black lines on me. So what we basically have here is that this stuff just comes out of nowhere, and there's a bunch of cleaning methods that people have, and this can actually spark quite a debate in the community. Now, I have two things that I do. I'm not saying these are the only two ways. Everyone has their own way. So the first thing I do is for quick spot treatment, and this is one where I'm not really cleaning the whole layout. I'm just doing a really quick clean off for something that's having an issue, maybe when I'm running trains or something like that. And that is just, I use a microfiber cloth to wipe down the track. Now, sometimes I'll use a bit of a solvent, like a little bit of acetone or isopropyl alcohol. I will not pour it directly on the track. I pour it in the cloth and rub the tops of the track. And that's only if it's really tough, so you don't want to pour acetone on the plastic, by the way. I do not use abrasives for removing oxidation. You may have seen me sand the track before. That was really only done to remove scenery material like paint or glue, and that was done very lightly as well. For the bigger cleans, I'm talking about like the annual cleans for me, I do a process called gleaming. It is a labor-intensive process, and I only do it once a year. I could explain it, but the video that I actually originally learned it from back in 2019 does such a fantastic job of explaining it. So if you want to watch the whole process of doing it and follow along, you can watch this video. I got it linked up here as well as in the description of this video. The process is basically cleaning the track, filling the gaps left from any scratches on top of the rail, and then making the track more conductive. It's labor intensive, but it works. Cleaning model railroads is one thing that can definitely spark an opinionated conversation in our community. So remember to be respectful to others in the comment section when you are discussing this. And I just want to say thank you all so much for watching. Until next time, I'm Jimmy from the DIY and Digital. Stay safe, be kind, drink some coffee, and happy railroading.